Welcome. I'm Mary. I'm with the United States Marine Corps. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I'm here today at our rally, our Veterans Rally Point broadcasting studio, and I have two of our great contributors. We have Wendy, is that correct?
Robin.
Robin and Brad. I know, and I asked them earlier, and I've already forgotten it. But
That's all right, Mary.
I'm
I'll
a
do that.
student,
That's
so I
okay.
can make mistakes. I am learning. I want to thank you both for being here, and I thoroughly am so impressed with you supporting us and being here and watching us grow. And as we continue to do the podcast, how did you decide to ever get involved with this, Brad?
Yeah, so Comcast is deeply committed to digital equity and closing the digital divide with all walks of life. Could be children, could be older adults, could be folks re-entering the workforce, and veterans. And we've had a long-term partnership with Easter Seals, working with Robin and Wendy and others. And digital equity is near and dear to us. So this was a home run opportunity to partner with Easter Seals, help provide some funding to build this beautiful podcast studio, and help you students learn the techniques and give back in a way that's meaningful.
Thank you. What do you have to add?
I think, from my perspective, from Easter Seals, we're so committed to working with veterans, to easing that transition from military to civilian life at any time, whether someone is just coming back from deployment or has been home for many years. And whatever it is that we can do to support the people that have served and supported this country, we need to do. I've found in some of my work that bridge to employment and the bridge to digital skills can be some of the what people may not think of as some of the harder things to bridge. And so, in trying to make sure we're helping people to bring economic stability to their families or whatever it is that goals that they want to meet, having those baseline computer skills and digital skills can be so important to connection with with others, with our family members, with employment, with friends, that it is part of our responsibility to do that. And we started to do the Computer 101 classes and teaching people how to set up an email or something like that. And then thought, well, you know what? There's so many more skills that we can teach and help to bring. And I called Brad and said, well, okay, we built the computer lab and this is great, but what do you think about this? And he was right there and said, yeah, let's do it. Let's do. So,
well, that was one of my other questions too. It was going to be like, how can you continue supporting us so we can continue to grow? I mean, my ultimate goal is to share experiences that vets have. There's so many veterans that will not tell their story, and they just need to be in a comfortable environment, like with another fellow vet like myself, and learn the different stories and hear things that have happened to them.
Yeah, so I mean, we can continue to support in many ways. So one, continuing to fund and partner with Easter Seals so that more students can come through programs like this in future years. And as a company, we're very committed to veterans in our community. From an employment standpoint, we have a whole Veterans and Military Affairs department in our corporate office.
Oh, wow.
Where they do community service in the communities through sponsorships and partnerships with national organizations that help veterans in all aspects of re-entering civilian life, as Robin said. And in all of our Comcast regions, we have what are called employee resource groups. And we have a VetNet ERG, as it's called. And that's a combination of supporters of the military, could be spouses or veterans that are employees of Comcast. And they meet monthly, and they have leadership. Jessica Forrest is one of our leaders who's here today. And they develop programming internally and externally to support the veterans community. And we want to make sure veterans that come to Comcast are comfortable in the work environment, and we help with that transition. So I think there are many ways from a volunteer standpoint too that our employees could come out and interact with you all and give back in that way.
Yeah, I think the way that we grow is through partnerships.
Yes.
Partnerships
I've been a
with
big
COMCAST.
supporter of Veterans Rally Point since day one, and I thank you both for your contributions. Every time I see a veteran, I say, "Hey, you know about Veterans Rally Point?" And I send them up there.
That's the key.
I says, "Go there at least once to see what's available." And I've had countless people say, "Hey, thank you for telling me that."
And that's the key. It's spreading that word and getting the word out and letting people know. I hear all the time, no matter how much marketing we do or how much I live right near there and I never knew that place existed, or I've driven by there. I've always wondered what that was.
I usually get one person a week. I'm sending them up there.
So
easy.
Yeah, no problem.
And the more people that you can get to come check out the class and see what it's about, come sit in the studio with me and let's just have a conversation. And then we can get more partners to take that content, like Dave, and kind of help us to put it out on whatever channels people want to put it out on. And
Can I
then,
ask you all a question?
Sure.
So on to that same point, and both of you please answer, but how did you find out about Veterans Rally Point?
I'll let Richie go
I'll
first.
say John Wagner. John Wagner was a big
Yeah.
promoter, and he kept,
our very first member.
Yeah. And I'm friends with him, and he says, "You got to get involved." And it's quite the program.
Yeah.
And I remember it was just a warehouse,
Right.
and we heard the concept that the Easter Seal wanted to give back to veterans, and we have the benefit of having the first one like this
in
the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it grow. I've seen it, what the general did, Ron Welch, and how he was able to develop it. And I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Awesome.
I'm very happy to be here. It's teaching me to be me. Up until March, I was not associated with Rally Point. I basically had lost my husband through suicide, and I lost my mom, and then we had COVID. So I became a house closet person. I would not leave my house. I ran into Marion at, believe it or not, a food pantry who told me about Rally Point. Convinced me to come up here, and it took me everything to get out of my car and come in. And I started with a coffee house up at the VFW, and it's just grown from there. So I'm like a newbie right now. I have a long ways to still go, but I am coming out of my shell, and it's all because of Rally Point. And Ryan has been a big help. I know one time we had a class with Ranger Rick, and they were talking about suicide, and I lost it. I just left the room all upset. It just hits you, and I've got a long ways to go, but I'm getting there. But it's got to a point. I had my sewer pumped out Monday. The guy pumping it out, and I said, have you ever heard about Rally Point? He didn't know about it, and he's a vet that is having back issues, didn't know there was a gym. So I went in and gave him a brochure. He's going to be coming up.
That's fantastic.
So, I've come a long way. I got a long ways to go. But it's the peer group has done it. Lori, Ryan, Marion. It's a whole family community. And I got a long ways to go. I take advantage of the food pantry. I'm getting ready to do more sewing. My chair, actually, the little bag on it, the sewing class made. That's what Lori took a picture of.
Very cool.
I love Comcast and Easter Seals supporting us. And I have hopefully nothing better for the future. Everything's going to be good.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, from talking with both of you and talking, with you, never would have guessed that. So I think you've come out of your shell.
Yeah, that's what Ryan says.
100%. And the way you're learning, but also giving back, both of you in the process, the way you're talking about this, that's even that little,
it helps.
Like you said, to that gentleman who was pumping your septic, and and you talked about it, and boom, now that's someone else that this organization, this facility can impact. And it's like anything, until you come here and see it, you can't really appreciate the benefit and what the organization is doing for folks like yourselves in the community that we owe a lot to.
Yes,
a tremendous facility.
It's a great,
many resources
great facility.
We're
I love it.
So honored to be part of your journey.
Oh, I'm so glad to
Thank
be
you
here
both.
for my journey.
Tremendous.
I don't know where it's going to take me, but I know it's just got to be anything good.
This has got to be the right place for you.
It's better than sitting at home for nothing and not talking to anybody.
Yes.
I mean, I've come out of my shell. It's getting there. But Well, thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you both very
Thank
much.
you for all that you've done for us
Yep.
to sit here today.
Yeah, thank you. Keep the money going, honey. I want to be able to do podcasts for different vets.
You can say
I
that's it,
really
Mary.
do.
I can't say that's it. but
Yeah,
you can.
yeah. It's like keep the money, keep it coming, keep it coming. No, that's
We will always be here. We
I
are.
hope
We're a true partner. We stay with the folks that
We
we
are
work.
very, very fortunate.
I'm hoping
with
eventually to
Comcast
have the
partnership.
podcast set up where I can literally come in with Tom. He's one of our Korean vets. Let me hear that story. What happened when you were overseas with your shoes? We heard that at Coffee House. Let's get it on tape for posterity
Right.
forever.
Exactly.
And hear stories that people have not wanted to mention.
Sure.
It's more than just a storybook. History is very important.
Absolutely.
So thank you again for coming
Thank you for
and
having us.
for supporting us and to continue.
Yes, thanks for doing this.
Yes.
That's great.